Hello everyone, in the last episode we saw the starting conditions for the United Earth Empire and we started to explore a little bit around our home system of Sol. So what we're going to do now is in this episode, what I'm really planning on doing is continuing to expand, to explore, and basically just seeing what actually happens. So at the end of the last episode we've received a defensive pact invitation from the Vulcans.
Logic dictates that combat is sometimes necessary.
So I'm, unlike the other treaties that the Vulcans have sent me, so the Migration Treaty, the Economic Treaty, and the Non-Aggression Pact, I'm not going to sign the Defensive Pact invitation just yet. And the reason is basically because I want to see what happens in the future. So if you remember from Star Trek Enterprise, the Vulcans and the Andorians were not on good terms, and that often happens in this game as well. So that's really,
challenge your preconceptions, or they will challenge you.
That's really my main reason to not accept this defensive pact, because what I don't want to do is for the Vulcans to then declare war on the Andorians, and then I'm dragged into a war where both the Andorians and the Vulcans are stronger military powers than I am. I'm invaded and crushed by the Andorians, for example, or the Andorians hate me because we've gone to war, so I don't want that. That's the primary reason, although I can see here that at the moment, the Vulcans are not rivaling anyone at the moment. However, there is a second reason that I do not want to go into a defensive pact with the Vulcan High Command. So again, if you remember back to Star Trek Enterprise, there is an episode there is a series of episodes where Captain Archer is helping the Cyrenite movement look for the Kashara after the embassy bombing on Vulcan. And afterwards, the Vulcan High Command is basically shut down and it's reformed into a new government. The problem, in this game at least, is that if I form a defensive pact with the Vulcan High Command, and this event triggers, so there is the embassy bombing, I go and explore and figure out that actually it was the Vulcan High Command that set the bomb, as they did in the show, and basically I bring the Kashara to the capital, it could actually start a civil war. And the problem is, whenever there is any kind of civil war within an empire in Stellaris, it bases the strength of the rebel faction on the strength of the faction that they're rebelling against, which, as you can see here, they're currently at a superior fleet power to mine. If this civil war does happen, I would then be brought in on the side of the Vulcan High Command, even though philosophically I'm more on the side of the Confederation, or the Confederacy of Surok, and probably I would then get curb stomped by the Confederacy as well, because their fleet power would be higher than mine. So I also don't necessarily want to form the defensive pact with the Vulcan High Command just yet. I want to wait a few years and basically see how things go. So rather than just declining it directly, I'm just going to let it time out.
Research complete.
Oh, we have some more research that's been completed. So our leaders now cost 20% less, and we've unlocked the Edict Educational Reforms. So I'm going to look at new research and see if there's anything that can help me improve my fleet power. Remember in the last episode I said that I was going to focus on research that would improve the power of my military fleets because of the potential Xindi event chain that may or may not happen soon. So I can research colony ships, I can unlock an ideological path of either diplomacy or slavery, and I can unlock a military academy and division headquarters buildings. So none of these help me directly with my ships, so what I'm going to do is look at the diplomacy or slavery ideological paths. As the United Earth, because we are a xenophile faction, our ideological path will then be diplomacy. If you were playing, for example, as the Terran Empire, your ideological path would then be slavery. But I'm going to research this for diplomacy, because that will then help me with my influence cost of things, and also make people like me more than without this. So I'm going to research diplomacy or slavery. and basically see where this takes us. And again, I'm going to wait for this to time out. I also said what I was going to do in the last episode is once this
construction complete.
Once it's done exactly that, it's finished building the starbase, what I was going to do is I was going to build the research base and then build this star post immediately as well. What I'm also going to do is I need more ships, so I want to increase my fleet. I want to be able to defend myself. So I'm going to add, well, let's go all the way up to the command limit, but I'm not necessarily going to reinforce it all the way, because as we can see up here, if I were to reinforce it with all 8 ships that I've just added in, I would be well over my naval capacity. So I'm going to just reinforce with 1 ship for now. It's all that I can afford as well. So do that, and it should be finished in about 100 days or so. Yep, the construction ship is now then building the research station. I have to admit, I'm just amazed at some of the textures and the level of details that go into a lot of the models. So for example, this sun is just beautiful. Okay, so our scientist has gained a level, that's always nice. And we have an anomaly. So the Terra Nova was the location of one of the United Earth's first extrasolar colonies. Having received no communications from the planet in years, every effort should be made to determine the fate of the expedition. Ooh, that sounds nice. Once it's finished surveying Luna Nova, I'm going to press research. So 60, 70, 80, 90. So our defensive pact has timed out, and we're now finished with surveying Luna Nova, so I'm going to press research. So if you remember, and we've potentially met new people, so the beta aliens. So I'm also going to try and get in contact with them. I'm going to investigate these aliens. That's interesting.
Construction complete.
So our starbase has finished the construction of this Emmet class vessel, which was added here, and I now have the option of upgrading my fleet. So if you remember from the last episode, we had several technologies that were researched that I did not directly incorporate into the ships that I already had, but I think I'm going to do that now. So let's set your home base as Starbase 1, and I'm going to upgrade the fleet. So back to this anomaly. So you might remember from Star Trek Enterprise, they had an episode about this, and this is basically what this anomaly is based off of. This will start an event, hopefully, and we can see whether the Novans still exist or whether they've been wiped off the planet.
An alien empire has established communications.
Oh, so we have met the Andorians here. Oh, nice. So that's excellent. So we can either learn from each other, we can greet each other as equals, or greet you in peace. Let's greet each other in peace. Yeah, so nice to meet you. And my fleet has been upgraded, that's great. So, okay. So I think once the starbase here is built, I'm going to then build a starbase here in the Sirius system. And the reason is because, as I said in the previous episode, these empires like to expand this way, galactic west. So I'm going to try and take some systems here in order to basically have some systems that I can call my own. So we finished that anomaly, and it's given us an event. So Captain Jonathan Archer turns to the communications officer and asks her to open a channel to the surface. The hails to the lost colony are met with silence and no reply is received. Captain Jonathan Archer consults with the science officer requesting analysis. There are no biosigns, but the colony appears to be intact. Sensors also indicate low levels of surface radiation. So we can either say some mysteries should remain mysteries and not investigate, or we can assemble an away team, which is what I'm going to do. Usually when I come across events like this, I try and stick close to what happened in the shows, a little bit just for my sake, just for role-playing, but also just to see what's going to happen. So let's assemble an away team. So our Prime Minister has gained a level. That's always nice. Captain's Log Supplemental. The away team shuttle has landed on the surface near the colony. All that they have found so far are empty buildings covered in rust and foliage. There are no signs of weapons fire or any other indication of what happened here. Captain Jonathan Archer orders the away team to the colony's communication relay to pull whatever information can be accessed. The captain and the security officer begin to search the area for further clues. Let's continue the search. After hours of searching the ruins of the settlement, Captain Jonathan Archer detects a life form on his tricorder. Pursuing the life sign, he follows it to a nearby cave system. The security officer takes point and proceeds into the opening. Proceeding deeper beneath the surface, both officers are ambushed by the inhabitants of the cave. Scaring back the primitive attackers with warning shots, they head back to the entrance. Moments before the mouth of the cave, the security officer is struck by a flint spear and killed. Jonathan Archer narrowly escapes, so what we can either do is prepare to leave orbit or attempt to negotiate. So these are most likely the Novans, so I think I'm going to attempt to negotiate and see what happens. So the captain and medical officer head to the surface to retrieve the body of the dead security officer. Upon arrival, they are able to locate the entrance to the cavern complex and navigate it to a room where the security officer's body has been left. The captain shouts out, "Let's try to negotiate, no more bloodshed today." The Novans emerge, and accepting the peaceful intentions agree, bringing the captain to a large cavern deep in the tunnels. After hours of negotiation, Captain Jonathan Archer is able to convince the Novans, as they call themselves, to trust the crew of the USS Mercury. Oh, that's excellent. So we could have just failed there and everyone was killed.
System survey complete.
So there's another anomaly. In orbit of a lifeless planet, Archered, we've detected a drifting ship sending out a distress signal. Let's research. Oh, and our science ship is just sitting there. He should definitely continue surveying. So let's survey around here. So, despite an intense negotiation period and promises of aid, the Novans refuse to move to the surface. Captain Jonathan Archer, saddened by the failure, agrees to leave supplies behind and tells them if they change their mind, to use the communication devices provided. So that's unfortunate. So what this basically means is, unlike the show, where the Novans were convinced to move to the surface and it became then a colony of United Earth, we have failed to convince the Novans to move to the surface and become a colony. So it's unfortunate. So we do not gain a colony, which is one of the potential other outcomes of this scenario. So it's unfortunate we lose 25 influence, but our captain gains 250 experience. So that's good. And it was enough experience to level up Jonathan Archer.
Construction complete.
So our construction ship has just finished, so let's build the mining and research stations, and then I'm going to have it move to Sirius and build a starbase there when possible. I will come back once this is finished surveying and build the starbase there anyway. So one of the mechanics as the United Federation of Planets is to actually, it depends. So if you are the United Federation of Planets and you are allowed to influence primitive civilizations, once they reach the warp-capable age, which is a primitive civilization level that only exists in Star Trek New Horizons, so once the primitive reaches the warp-capable age, you can then incorporate them directly into the Federation as a member world, which can be nice, rather than the other way that you incorporate member worlds, which is spending lots of influence on them as well as minerals and energy. It takes quite a long time. So it can be a faster way of incorporating formerly primitive civilizations into the Federation. In other words, I would like to control that system before anyone else, so that when I can incorporate them, I am able to without any kind of obstacles. So that anomaly that we just researched led to this event. It says, The USS Mercury NCC-7's sensors have locked onto the vessel. It is loaded to capacity with minerals and its engines appear to be dead. An automated distress signal loops every 78 seconds. Captain Jonathan Archer orders a channel open and introduces himself. A short, rotund alien appears on the view screen. Aha, the alien replies. You have broadcast a distress signal. Do you need assistance? Aha, the alien replies once again. What is the nature of your problem? Captain Jonathan Archer asks impatiently. We are pack-led. Our ship is the Mondor. Look for things that make our ship go again. You help repair, perhaps? So this Samaritans there is based off of the Star Trek: The Next Generation episode of the same name, where the pack-leds kidnap Picard while they're trying to repair his ship and demand a ransom. So we can either send an away team, which leads to another event, or we have no time for this, meaning we lose 25 influence. I don't really have enough influence up here to be losing a third of it by saying we have no time for this, so I'm going to send an away team and hope that the outcome might be different. So send an away team, and let's see what happens. So, Captain Jonathan Archer has joined the away team repairing the pack-led vessel. While aboard, he discovers that the ship's databanks contain extensive scientific data on this region of space. Given the varying encoding formats, including at least one classified United Earth protocol, the data is likely stolen from multiple species. The captain mulls whether to confront the pack-led about the data or abandon the repairs. So we can either confront the pack-led, or we can beam the captain back. Maybe let's confront the pack-led and see what happens. Oh, not good. Captain Jonathan Archer accuses the pack-led captain of having stolen data from the United Earth. The alien laughs as he draws a disruptor pistol, vaporizing a member of the repair team. Captain Jonathan Archer orders the USS Mercury's transporter chief to beam the rest of the repair crew back aboard. As the team are successfully beamed back, a hastily configured dampening field set in place by the pack-led prevents the return of the captain. The pack-led transmits a warning to the USS Mercury. The captain must complete the repairs of their vessel alone or be killed. This is a disaster. So again, we've received this defensive pact invitation, but I'm letting it time out, because even if it's from the Andorians, if they suddenly rival the Vulcans, then I potentially might get screwed and they'll declare war on each other. And I definitely don't want to be fighting either of them. So Captain Jonathan Archer is forced to proceed alone with the repairs to the pack-led vessel. Given the precarious state of the ship's warp core, direct action could prove disastrous and destroy the ships, along with the captain. So we can either attempt to trick the pack-led or intimidate them. I think I'm going to attempt to trick the pack-led. The pack-led are not stupid, says the first officer to the pack-led captain on the USS Mercury's view screen. The pack-led captain pauses for a moment. No, we are not stupid, he replies. You have outthought and defeated us. You have our captain. We respect your strength and cunning. Yes, we are strong and cunning, the pack-led agrees. Well then, we'll give you all of our dilithium and contents of our data banks in exchange for our captain. Lower your shields and we will beam them over to you. The pack-led vessel lowers its shields, and moments later Captain Jonathan Archer is safely aboard the USS Mercury. With no intention of paying the ransom, the USS Mercury leaves the area. This could have gone better. So we at least gained 50 influence from that event. That's nice.
Research complete.
Oh, and we finished some research. So, this was the ideological path. So we could either have gone for diplomacy or for slavery. And we can only here choose the diplomatic option, so adaptive lingua code translators. So if I say, can you provide more information? Adaptive lingua code translator. This is the very first step in a list of technologies that deal with interspecies diplomacy, cooperation, and trade. Selecting this path allows for the research of benefits to trade attractiveness, unique modules, special buildings, and much more. This option cannot be selected by xenophobe empires. So we're going to select the adaptive lingua code translator because it's the only thing we can do. Or we can delay this selection. But we can't do anything if we keep delaying, so the adaptive translator it is.
Research complete.
So basically that's given us minus 20% influence cost, and we have unlocked the specialization diplomacy. So we'll see, yeah, what kind of technologies that brings us and what kind of research options. So, new research. So we can unlock merchant marines. So this adds life support, a dicyclic life support system, crew bunks, and a main engineering console to our ships. We can unlock the Cordrazine, which, if you remember last episode, I said was a very important research, especially for your population growth. Or we can unlock the Heritage Museum and the Orbital Museums. The Heritage Museum adds a curator job, meaning that it produces 2 society research points, 2 unity, 1 minor artifacts, and 1 stability. And the Orbital Museum costs 100 alloy. It has a base upkeep cost of 3 energy and produces 8 unity. So again, I think I'm going to focus on the ship research at the moment and go for that. And unpause, and let's see again what happens now. What's coming up? So the offer to perform a defensive pact timed out. Ooh, and we have our first tradition available. So traditions in Star Trek New Horizons are somewhat different from the traditions in the base game. They have been modified. So for example, we're playing as United Earth, so we can even form traditions that are part of the United Federation of Planets. So for example, the Federation tradition tree, which allows for a lot of very nice benefits for the United Federation of Planets. I'm going to start off with Discovery. This isn't a reference to Star Trek Discovery, it's a reference to exploration and discovering the things around us. And as I play, usually my style as the United Federation of Planets is more peaceful and research based, and the Discovery tradition tree gives you a research perk at the end, so when the finisher effect is that increases our research speed by 5%. So I'm going to unlock the Discovery tradition tree. Excuse me. So, let's see.
Logic dictates that combat is sometimes necessary.
Oh, this is interesting. So what we see here is that the Vulcans have rivaled someone, but it's not the Andorians, because we know the Andorians, so it wouldn't say unidentified empire. So this actually could be very good for us when we're trying to form the Federation, because at the moment they haven't rivaled each other, which would make our life much easier when trying to form the United Federation of Planets in the future. So, we have finished the research into advanced space ballistics, which has given us spatial torpedoes, so I'm going to have to upgrade my ships again. Speaking of which, I'm going to build some more because I have some alloy. So, new research. We can increase our torpedo warhead damage by 5%. We can unlock the titanium hull component, or we can unlock the main engineering console component. I think let's go for the hull. I think that will really help our ships. What I'm actually going to do, I said I was going to upgrade the ships, but I'm actually going to wait until next month once the warp engines have finished. That way it will take less time in total to update the current ships that I have to the most up-to-date version. So again, another defensive pack.
A logical request.
Again from the Vulcans, so I'm going to wait for that.
Research complete.
And that will be the warp engines. So that's great, I'll upgrade my ships. And we can either increase our colony development speed, get phase cannons, which is what I'm going to go for, or unlock the matter fabricator building and increase alloy production. I'm of course going to go for the phase cannon because I'm focusing on my ships. And let's upgrade the fleet. And let's reinforce this fleet as well. So this, I happen to know that our ships currently cost 149 alloys. So when I press reinforce fleet, I'm going to get 1 new ship, which is perfect because I really don't want to go over this naval capacity of 29, and these Emmet class frigates are worth 4 units, so I don't want that many. So you might be wondering now, what is kind of the best way, or how do we increase this naval capacity? Well, there are actually 2 different ways. The first way is building, there's a building for that, which you can build on your planet. I don't have it researched yet. It's called a naval depot.
System survey complete.
And you can also build more star bases and include the naval depot building on those star bases, which is basically what I'm going to start doing soon, because I will quickly get to this limit, especially, for example, if I press now reinforce the fleet a second time, which will build yet another ship. This will then bring me up to 28 units out of 29 units, which I'm going to do, so press. So we can now see in Starbase 1 we're going to be building 2 more Emmet class ships.
Incoming.
Thank you. They can now use the trade embargo against us and the demilitarization. So as I was saying, I'm going to quickly get to this naval capacity limit, so I'm going to build a new starbase soon and really try to increase this naval capacity limit so that I can build more ships. So our constructor is moving on. I'm actually just wondering if I might have spent the resources that the constructor will need in order to claim the Sirius system. I really hope not. So what I'm also going to do is this ship, I'm going to have you do some more exploring. Let's go this way in the hopes of meeting the Tellerites, who are somewhere over here. I can never remember exactly which system each race is in, which is good, because for me that means that it makes the experience new and interesting every time I play. So another defensive pact.
I don't like being indebted to anyone.
This time from the Andorians, so that's good. I'm still going to wait for this to decline. I'm going to wait to see...
I doubt that war can be avoided this time.
I'm going to wait to see if the Andorians and the Vulcans have any kind of relationship, which would be amazing if they do. What I am going to do is do these other 3 agreements. So their economic power is superior, so I'm definitely going to do a commercial pact. Because it increases the value of both of our trade networks. It will increase our trust by 0.25 each month up to a maximum value of 50. It will cost us 0.18 influence per month. They will get 0.06 Latinum and we will get 0.02 Latinum each month as long as the deal is active. So let's confirm that. Let's do the research agreement. Again, mostly what this will do is gain a bonus to the research speed of all other empires' discovered technologies, meaning that if they've discovered something and I haven't, then I will then get a bonus to that technology, and vice versa. It will also increase our trust by 0.1 each month to a maximum of 50 and cost us 0.18 influence per month. So let's do that. And an non-aggression pact because I don't want to go to war with you. Let's see what they accept. So they've accepted the commercial pact, they've accepted the research pact, and they've accepted the non-aggression pact. So I'm going to offer a migration treaty as well. So that way I can get some Andorians if they decide they'd like to live on Earth or Mars. And yeah, let's see what happens. So our defensive pact invitations are also auto-timed out.
Complete.
And new research. So dicyclic life support system and the crew bunks. So our society research, we can research a Javanite artisan shop, which makes, well, it provides for 1 Javanite jeweler job, which produces 2 supplies and 20 luxuries, which is nice, but to be honest, it's not something I need right now. We can again build the militia academy in the division headquarters, or we can go for the regional capitals. So if you've noticed on each world that you have, you start off with an administration complex. So that's both on Mars and on Earth. And the next upgrade to this is actually the regional capitals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this, because this will be very nice. It will give us more max districts of different types, and then it will also give us more jobs, more housing, and more amenities. So I'm definitely going for the regional capital. And what I'm going to do is upgrade my ships as well, because we've just added that new
Construction
component.
complete.
What I'm also going to do, well, I'll wait actually, is, so what I was going to say is, in Starbase 1, let's try and move this out of the way. I can't. Okay, I'll come back to that. So the Col Andor Scrolls. Greetings from the Andoria Empire, Prime Minister Nathan Samuels. I wish it were not so, but I'm afraid I must request a favour from the human people. The unidentified Empire has long refused to return the Col Andor Scrolls to their rightful home on Andoria. Would you be able to, or would you be willing to represent us in this matter? So I can say, the Col Andor Scrolls. They were presented to the Tellerite first speaker shortly after our first contact between our peoples. The Tellerite government have since betrayed us and claimed the temporary nature of the arrangement was never agreed. The scrolls have enormous cultural value as the earliest known documentation of modern Andorian political theory. Their presence on Tellar Prime is proving intolerable to many on Andoria. So we can either say this is not our concern, or we will assist our Andorian allies, of course. I'm going to assist, because I'm a nice guy. You have our gratitude. Okay. So, back to Starbase 1. What I was saying is that I think I'm going to build another shipyard. What this will allow me to do is to upgrade my ships faster, because I can then do 2 in parallel, and I can also then build them faster. So, I'm going to do this. So, in 180 days, I will then have...
Complete.
I will then have a second shipyard in the starbase, and everything will go much faster. So, the Col Andor Scrolls event. Rogue elements within the unidentified Empire military structure have taken it upon themselves to strike at Andoria to force a return of the Col Andor Scrolls. While the Tellerite first speaker has condemned the attacks, many on Andoria refuse to separate the actions of the rebels from the government. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Priority 1 message. Incoming.
Another defensive pact. Again, I'm going to wait on that. My ships have been upgraded. That's
Anomaly
great.
detected.
Another anomaly, so I'm definitely going to research that. So I'm just wondering if I should build another science ship in order to explore faster,
Priority 1 message. Incoming.
or whether I should go for another frigate. I think at the moment I'm going to go for another science ship just because of my naval capacity. It's at the limit, but I definitely want to increase that soon, meaning that at this point in time I need to build a another starbase and then build the naval depot buildings on it. So, automated shipyard. While conducting a survey of Cor Coroli 4, the USS Mercury NCC-7 detected the remains of an automated shipyard in orbit. It is at least 1,000 years old and seems to have been subjected to a heavy missile barrage, but one of its manufacturing bays is still in working condition. The science officer is confident that power can be restored to the shipyard, but it would be a significant project. So we would then gain access to the project Repair Automated Shipyard, so that's interesting.
Mission log updated.
So, what do we need? We need 1 construction ship in orbit, and that's over here. But what I'm going to do is my construction ship's sitting here. It was supposed to build the starbase, but apparently it didn't have enough materials. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there until, unpause the game, leave it there until there are enough materials to build the starbase. Build the starbase, build all of the different stations here, so the research and mining stations, and then go over here and do the special project, and usually that will give us some kind of free ship, so that will be very nice. So we have our science ship. I'm going to recruit another leader, and usually I go for, unless there's something specific with the traits that look amazing, I go for the youngest leader possible in order to have them for a long time. So, especially as the youngest one also has the resilient trait, meaning it adds 25 years to their life. So it means that they will live to the age 105 without the chance of dying from old age. Usually, people live until the age of 80, so that's great. And especially as they're the youngest, 105 minus 35, that means we'll have them for about 70 years. So yes please. And you're heading in that direction, you're heading in this direction. Let's give you some more survey targets. Let's go this way, and then I will have you, so boom 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 boom. So why don't we have you go here, 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 and let's say here, and see what happens. And you'll go this way, so then we'll start generally just exploring around here and basically see what happens. What I'm then going to actually have them do is the science ships, after they finished exploring, I'm going to send them to upgrades. And I'm going to do the same with this one since it was built after these latest upgrades. But this one, yes, because it was built afterwards, it already has those upgrades to the design incorporated during the construction. So that's great. So I'm at 51 alloy currently. I'm going to wait.
We know they're preparing for a war against us.
Great quote from Shran there from Star Trek Enterprise. So we're at 80. Come on. One more month and I'll be able to build the starbase. Yes, so now we
Research
can
complete.
build the starbase, and we have new
Anomaly
research,
detected.
well, and a new anomaly, so yes, we will research this anomaly. We have phase cannons, ooh, very nice, so this will definitely help our fleet. And do we want optical computers? The command station, tactical station, inertial dampener, which gives us slight additions to our weapons and to the hull armor and shield regeneration, or the nuclear electronic lab, which helps science ships. This would give us better military better computers on board military ships. This will give us tractor beams, subspace snares, prevent our enemies from fleeing, and utilize that enhance your ship's evasion rating. I'm going to go for the optical computer just again because I'm focusing on the military at the moment. And I'm going to wait for these 2 months and then
Priority 1
update
message. Incoming.
all of these ships. So another defensive pact
A logical request.
from the Vulcans, but I'm again gonna skip this. So the reason you've seen me click here, click on the Vulcans,
Logic dictates that combat is sometimes necessary.
the Vulcans and Andorians, I just want to make sure that I haven't missed them rivaling each other, or even better, declaring a mutual defense pact, or inviting each other to a coalition, because I want to be part of that if possible. Let's see. So I assume that whoever the Andorians are then rivaling the Tellerites for somewhere over here.
Research complete.
New research, this is the hull, so now I'm going to upgrade the ships. And, ooh, oh yes, so I've just seen here, we can research light cruiser blueprints, which gives us access to the light cruiser class and allows us to refit to the Neptune class. So the Neptune class was a refit of the Emmet class in Star Trek Enterprise. So yes, this definitely adds a lot of power to the Emmet class, making it the Neptune class, and also gives us the light cruiser, access to the light cruiser type of ships, with the first type being the Intrepid class. So this, as we can see here in the image, which was also in Star Trek Enterprise as well. So definitely going for that, and I'm upgrading my ships. Yes. So if you don't have, if you haven't played Stellaris recently, even in the base game, they've changed the way that ships upgrade, so now it's done ship by ship, and it only takes the materials for the ship that is currently being upgraded, so that way if basically you stop the upgrade or there's not enough materials for all of the ships to upgrade, it will then upgrade some of them. So That way it can be a rolling process of upgrading, rather than having to have tons of resources and then suddenly losing all those resources because this job has taken it away. So we had an anomaly, and it's called the Skin of Evil. The crew begin preparations to lead an away team to the surface when the ship's sensor detects a cascade reaction in the crashed shuttle's antimatter containment pods. Within moments, the containment fails, and the shuttle and everything in a 50-kilometer radius is destroyed in the resulting matter-antimatter reaction. The shuttlecraft and its pilot are declared dead. This is a disaster. So that was definitely an anomaly that we failed to solve correctly. Yeah, basically we had an unfavorable outcome. So I'm now bordering both the Andorians and the Vulcans, so I have all of these casus belli, or the reasons to go to war with them, which I'm not going to use. But the big thing is that I can now build the mining and research stations, and then send my constructor over here for the special project. So I'm definitely going to do that right now.
System survey complete. Construction complete.
Defense pack invitation, again, I'm going to wait.
I don't like being indebted to anyone.
As I said, I'm going to wait because I don't want things to suddenly change and then find that I'm in an extremely unfavorable position.
Complete.
So basically what I'm waiting for is them either to make the first move of inviting each other to a coalition or defensive pacts, and then seeing what happens, and if I can join that coalition I will definitely join it. So we found another alien species, so I'm going to research that so that I can get in contact with them, see who they are. That's interesting, very interesting. These Delta aliens, who are they?
Construction complete. System survey complete.
Yep. Oh, perfect. So I've now finally met the Tellerites, so I can see who's rival to who and what's happening. So that's excellent. So we can learn much from each other, Tellerite.
Your people have no experience in interstellar affairs.
So as you just heard, that's another quote from Star Trek Enterprise, lifted directly from the show. And I'm going to do the same that I've done with the Vulcans and the Andorians. I'm going to offer a migration treaty, research agreement, commercial pack, and non-aggression. That's nice. We've also seen that they have a closed border with the Andorians, but they're not actually rivaling the Andorians. So maybe actually we can get all three of them into a coalition and form the Federation that way, which would be great. So in order to form the Federation, you only need 2 of the 3 original founders. So I'm the United Earth, and then I would need 2 more, so the Andorians and the Vulcans, or Andorians and the Tellerites, or the Tellerites and the Vulcans. But it would be awesome to have all 3, just because that's actually what happened in the original Star Trek universe. Ooh, invite to coalition.
Our presence would indicate that diplomacy has failed.
So
Is this correct?
So this is my invite to a coalition, but I don't really want to be in a coalition with the Vulcans and then have something change. What I want is for them to be in a coalition and then to invite me.
War can be avoided this time.
Well, we shall see. So I'm going to ignore this for right now, because I want them to be in a coalition first. And then I will join, because I have good relations with both of them. Well, at least that's the hope anyway. So I no longer have to explore these 3 systems because I've met the Tellerites and they've shared their information, on their systems with me, so I will do those for them.
Anomaly detected.
Oh, anomaly. Let's research that. And we're meeting more people. Oh, I do like meeting more people. So there's the Epsilon aliens. Research them. See what happens there.
An alien empire has established communications.
And we've met the Denobulans. Excellent. So the Denobulans... Yep, let's greet each other in peace. So the Denobulans are a... Oh, okay. So the Denobulans are known as a minor empire. So minor empires are basically empires that do not expand. So we can see, for example, Andoria has expanded past its initial system, Vulcan is expanding past its initial system, so are the Tellerites, but the Denobulans won't. What they will do is they'll fortify their system, and they are a minor empire. And my ship was forced to return to the Sol system because it was within the borders, and obviously they don't want me to be within the borders. So I have to wait for my science ship to come back, which it should do in December. So we looked at that anomaly, this anomaly right here, where it said they found an old ship, and it was a solar sailor, and it had an interesting, albeit primitive, design. So we gained 113 research points in the engineering field. So that's good, that will make the engineering research go faster. Great. And we've also declined the Alliance invite. So let's see. The Andorians have entered a defensive pact with the Vulcan High Command.
I doubt that war can be avoided this time.
What I'm going to do, actually,
Challenge your preconceptions, or they will challenge you.
Is form a coalition directly with the Andorians, well, with the Vulcans, and then invite the Andorians. So, invite. This could be shooting myself in the foot, but I guess we will see, basically, what happens in future episodes. So, confirm.
A coalition has been formed.
So not only have I formed the coalition, but I've also met the Orion Trade Union, which I bet you anything, will greet you in peace, I bet you anything is who the Vulcans...
Logic dictates that combat is sometimes necessary.
That the Vulcans are rivaling. So, yeah, so that's good, I guess. And what I'm going to do now is go here...
know they're preparing for a war against us.
And offer association status with the Andorian Empire, and I want to see if I can do that to the Tellerites as well. So we can't invite them, and we're basically literally just too far away at the moment from the Tellerites to give them association status as well. But hopefully that will be changing in the next couple of minutes. So some more research, optical computers, and again there's nothing that specifically helps our military ships, so I'm going to look at automatic exploration. I'm going to research this. So I'm also just noticing that this video is running a little bit longer than what I wanted, so I'm going to put a cut in here, and next time what we'll be doing is really trying to focus our efforts on the Tellerites and the Andorians, trying to get them into this coalition, which I think I'll be able to do, and then also seeing if the Cindy event happens and what basically the outcome of that is. So hopefully we'll be building enough ships to protect the Earth, but we'll just have to see. So hope you enjoyed, please subscribe, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye! Thank you so much for watching another episode of Jamie Plays Games. If you're interested in seeing more videos in this series on Star Trek New Horizons Update Into the Mirror Darkly, the playlist is on your screen now. If you want to keep up with me as I play this and other games, don't hesitate to press the subscribe button. Thanks again, and see you soon.